Okay. Vita. I'm gonna show y'all boys where I'm from, man. I'm from that.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Okay. All right, another one of your fighters, Caleb Plant. He's coming off of a loss to Resendez, right? You know, we hear
Armando Resendez.
Yeah, Armando Resendez. You know, we hearing grumblings about, you know, Charlo, Berlanga. Can you kind of like peel back the curtain? What could possibly be next?
I'm not gonna be training Caleb, so I really don't know what's. I've been hearing about his future fights, but I really don't, know what's going on. But I'm not gonna be training Caleb anymore.
All right, I know, you know, that those situations be kind of dicey, but can you elaborate? Like, did something happen? Was it the loss? Was it, him wanting to go another direction? Like,
I don't really know what direction he want to go in, but I just, I let him know about 3 or 4 weeks after the fight that it probably would, that I would be stepping away from training him. I never really talked about it, but I'm hearing the Charlo fight and different fights that people keep asking me. So, it's just something I let him know. This was way back in June. I want to say I got a love for Caleb, so it's not a thing of like it's a confrontational relationship or anything. It's nothing like that. He don't owe me no money or nothing like that. I know everybody want to get the clickbait and say like, make it seem like something bad happened. It's just that sometimes relationships just run their course, and I could just put it like that, I got respect for him, so I wasn't going to put him in a situation where he have a fight and then I tell him I'm not going to train him. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't do that to him. So 3 to 4 weeks after a fight, sometime towards the end of June, I think he fought May 31st. Sometimes towards the end of June, I let him know that I would be, I wished him luck and I thanked him for the opportunity, but I let him know that I wasn't going to be coming back.
A lot of times it's the fighter that chooses to part ways, but you're telling me that it was you that made the decision.
Well, I can't say what he chose because we haven't really talked after the fight. So I don't want to put words in his mouth and say he might have been let me go. I don't know that, but I just know that I told him, I gave him my letter of resignation, like I said, like towards the end of June. I don't really want to get into the reasons, you know what I mean? Because obviously he lost the fight and things like that. And, it's just, I wouldn't be able to give him the best version of myself anymore. And, again, I'm not upset with him. As far as I know, he's not, I can't speak for him. I don't know if he's upset with me, but it was just, the camp was just different. I felt like we had 3 great camps, with Darrell was our first camp. And I felt like that he was doing things that he wasn't known to do. And the Darrell knockout, in my opinion, was one of the best knockouts of the decade. And he got that knockout late in the 9th or 10th round, I believe. And then we had the Benavidez fight. Benavidez, to me, is a generational talent. And they hated each other before that fight. And, after Benavidez won fair and square, but after the fight, they didn't hate each other no more because Caleb earned this respect because he fought such a good fight. And he stood up to him. You know what I mean? And that's what it takes when you fighting a killer like that. They need to see you stand up to him, and then now they cool. And in the McCombie fight, to me, it was a perfect camp. He did something again in a fight that people didn't expect him to do, and that's walk somebody down and stop him late, because Caleb's not known for that. The criticism of him is, he don't finish the fights as strong as he starts them. And for this camp right here, it was just different. And yeah, I mean, that's all I could say. It's nothing bad. I'm not mad at him. I'm not disappointed at him. If anything, I'm just a little confused on why the camp didn't go the way it normally would go. But it's life, and we'll move on. But I got nothing but respect and admiration for Caleb, man. He gave me a big opportunity, and we had some good camps together, and we worked our butts off. And I thought I made him a better fighter. Just this last camp, I can't tell you what went wrong. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know. I did hear some stuff about he was overtrained. That wasn't true. He never was overtrained. I never really addressed it or had to defend myself because Caleb didn't say that I overtrained him, but I did hear people kind of say that I overtrained him, that he was overtrained for this fight, and that's not true. If you ever get a chance, you can ask him. Caleb is real conscious about being overtrained. So he wasn't overtrained. And, you know, everybody has their own little assessments on what they think happened instead of like talking to the person that it happened to. He wasn't overtrained, you know. And I'm not upset about that. I'm just putting that out there because I've been hearing that all over the internet for the past 5 months, and I never really had a chance to address it. And I didn't take the guy lightly. You know, that was something else that was like asked, you know, off camera and on the camera. Like, did y'all take him lightly? I don't take nobody lightly. You know what I mean? If I'm leaving my family and traveling back and forth and subjecting myself to, like, that's a lot of work. You know what I mean? I'm not in this game to take nobody lightly. So that's probably what the one time that I did do the interview was after the fight. You heard me saying, like, no, I didn't take him lightly. I actually talked about how tough this fight was going to be. I've seen guys fight over their head before. And Resendez fought a little bit over his head. Caleb fight under his ability level. If they meet on that night, you got a problem. But I was very open about, like, you know, I know Manny Robles is a good coach, and I know not just a good coach, he's used to being an underdog in fights. And when you got a coach that's used to being an underdog, that's dangerous because he know how to keep the guy's self-esteem up. And he won the heavyweight championship of the world with Andy Ruiz and Anthony Joshua on short notice. So I was like, I kind of was prepared for Resendez being better than he ever was. So no, we didn't, it wasn't an underestimation on my part, and I didn't overtrain him. That's all I can really say. Other than that, I don't have, you know, I got nothing but love for Caleb. I think Caleb a terrific talent, man. I do. You know what I mean? I hope he believed that I thought that, because I think Caleb is the real deal. It was days I seen Caleb in the gym, and he looked like a lighter version of Oscar De La Hoya, bro. Like, and Oscar was a bad boy in his prime. Like, people look at him now as the promoter. I don't know how old you are, but he turned pro in '92. A lot of people now didn't see a prime Oscar. Oscar was rough.
He was one of my favorite fighters growing up.
Yeah, he reminded me of Caleb a little bit, you know, because they both really left-handed and they fight in the southpaw stance. It was days Caleb, like...
Oh, shit, you just told me something.
Yeah, and that's why he favors his hook and his jab.
I didn't know that Caleb was...
Yeah, he's really left-handed. And he reminded me of Oscar, man. You know, so I really believed and believe in Caleb and his ability. You know, things just a little bit different this last camp. And that's all I can really say. I really don't know why. You have to ask him.
What's a deal breaker for you as a trainer?
There's a lot of deal breakers. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to get into anything out of respect for him. And I don't want to, like, speculate on what was wrong in this camp, because if I speculate openly, I could be wrong, and then that might offend him. I honestly, I don't know what happened. I just know that each camp is different, but the Dirrell camp, he was coming off of the loss to Canelo, and he wasn't really sparring good, but I just felt like his effort was so high that we was going to turn it around. About the fourth or fifth week in camp, bro, he was icing people. And we went into the fight and did what we did. The Benavidez camp, I thought that camp was too long, but I was proud of him because he worked his ass off. You know, and I knew he had to be in a different kind of shape mentally and physically for Benavidez because of what Benavidez is. He's a soul taker. So you got to push that. You got to push yourself with a guy like that, because he is a soul taker. He'll take your soul from you. And I remember the Canelo fight, and I remember how, you know, down the stretch, Caleb kind of like lost his footing. And I made sure that, you know, I didn't want him to get stopped against Benavidez, and I almost stopped that fight. But I saw the work that he was putting in camp, and I said, you know what? Let me let this kid, and he made it through. And in the Macombi camp, he got hurt early. You know what I mean? That was nothing to take light. That dude can punch. He got hurt early in that fight, and it seemed like everything that we worked on just all came together. And he started walking him down towards the midway point in the fight, catching and countering and going to his body. So I felt like he was improving, and we was doing things that he wasn't known to do in the 3 fights that I had with him. And I just don't know what happened in the last camp. But a deal breaker is a lot of things, man. You know what I mean? So, but I don't want to say a deal breaker, because if I say a deal breaker, people are going to try to put together 2 and 2 and say, well, this is why they're not working together. And I honestly can't tell you what went wrong in the camp. I don't know what went wrong in the camp. But that's my honest truth to you.
Hey man, what's up, man? It's the big boss, K-Po Talk Boxing. Fucking my salute, good little times, no last, good people doing enough self. Call him if I like me, man. A peak game, man. The first one's mine. Your boy is on his way to the JOB. Had a good workout this morning. Y'all go over to the Clutch Factory. You know what I'm saying? Gonna drop some content on there real soon. You know what I'm saying? We definitely going live tomorrow. The topic at hand is gonna be Terrence But Crawford. So be ready. And a list of other topics, whatever other topics y'all want to talk about on the live, right? So, you know, y'all come prepared, y'all come ready, get your popcorn, you know, get your water, you know what I mean? It's going down. But let's talk about some Caleb Plant, man. Stephen Ramirez announces that he will not be coaching Caleb Plant anymore. He said he put in his resignation in June, right? You heard the audio, right? Sucks, man, you know, because I think that they had a good partnership. I think that Breadman is a hell of a coach. You know, I want to say he's a coach. I think he's a teacher, right? You got guys in boxing who are coaches and who are teachers, and I think that Breadman is a teacher, right? He has a distinct style that he teaches, and he knows how to reach his fighters, right? He ain't got to scream and yell at you, you know. I mean, he's capable of doing that. I've seen him scream and yell at some fighters, but you know, for the most part, like he's very good at identifying, like, okay, when I need to talk to this guy, you know, when I need to scream at him, when I need to do this, you know, he studies his fighter, and then he tries to see what makes him tick. He spends time with him, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I was kind of disheartened and disappointed, you know, that you know, Caleb Plant and Stephen Ramirez, you know, no longer will be working together. You know, Breadman didn't specify why, but you know, I don't know what the reason is. I'm not gonna assume anything. You know what I'm saying? It just sucks. You know what I'm saying? You know, I don't. You know, he says not because of Caleb Plant losing to Resendez. You know, he just said there was some things that, you know, he was seeing in that camp that, you know, Caleb was doing that he didn't do in other camps. So, you know, I don't know what it was. I'm not going to speculate. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, Caleb wasn't listening, or Caleb was, you know, TikToking. You know, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't there. I ain't trying to know. I'm being real. I just, you know, I felt like Caleb Plant had a good, you know, partnership with Breadman. He was able to be revitalized. That McCumbee fight, you know, he fought a different style. You know, a lot of people feel like Caleb Plant, you know, I mean, which is true. He's just a pure boxer, you know what I'm saying? But he showed that he can walk somebody down, you know, against Anthony Dirrell. He knocked him out. You know, that was something that, you know, nobody was expecting. I think that was a knockout of the year. That's still one of the greatest knockouts, right? The last couple of years, you know what I'm saying? Just that left hook was money. You know what I'm saying? He landed it perfectly on the hook, right? And then Breadman revealed something that, you know, I didn't know. Caleb Plant's really a southpaw. He just chooses to fight orthodox. So, you know, that was new, because I'm like, what? He's a southpaw? You know, Andre Ward, I believe, is really a southpaw, but he fights orthodox. You know what I mean? So, it's you know, it just sucked. You know what I'm saying? Pause. I don't know how to keep reiterating that. But who should be Caleb Plant's coach? You know what I'm saying? I don't know who he go to. You know, maybe go to Manny Robles, but then, you know, he can't get the Resendez fight because he want that get back with Resendez. So I don't know. Ronnie Shields will be a good coach for Caleb. Derek James. Right? Derek James would be a good coach for Caleb Plant. You know, he don't have a big roster. He just got Alicia Baumgartner. So, you know, I don't know if Derek James want that high-profile athlete again, right? But Derek James would be good for Caleb. You know what I'm saying? I think that he'd be able to, like I say, the teachers and coaches, I think he'll be able to add something to Caleb Plant's game. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we shall see. You know, it just sucked. You know, like, I don't know who else. I mean, maybe Robert Garcia. You know, but you know, Robert Garcia got a lot of fighters, so I don't know if he'll be able to. Caleb Plant, to me, I don't know him personally. He's like a more personal guy, right? He's not a guy that let everybody in his bubble, in his circle. So I don't know if, you know, Robert Garcia, you know. But Robert Garcia is a good coach. You know what I'm saying? He's a great coach. So that's why I say maybe him. But Derek James, I feel like would be perfect because he's a personal guy. Like even when he was Errol's coach, a lot of time it was just him and Errol before he started taking on all these high-profile fighters, right? It was just him and Errol and him and Jamel. You know what I'm saying? That was the clique. That was the crew. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I just think that, you know, Derek James as a teacher would be able to add a lot of stuff to Caleb Plant's game. So we shall see, you know, where Caleb Plant goes from here. But, you know, Bradman announces that he's no longer coaching Caleb Plant. Sucks. Y'all let me know what y'all think.